Hello, I'm Clementine. Welcome to the Zepparella Learning Channel. This is my series on meditation for drummers. In the first two videos, we found our breath and we found that nice wide awareness. And now what I'd like to talk about is the idea of attachment. So when we notice a sensation in our bodies, we think about it being pleasant, and if it's a pleasant sensation, we want it to stay. We can start craving for us to feel that way all the time. If it's an unpleasant sensation, then we can push it away, not want to feel it, or we're very averse to it. That's aversion. And then there's a lot of things that go on in the body where we're completely neutral to them. We have no awareness of them at all. And that could be a kind of numbness or ignorance about what we could be using or what we could be experiencing. So that's what this meditation is going to be about, because when we can learn to just be with what is, then we can get a little closer to that state of flow that we're all searching for as musicians and as people. So again, go ahead, make yourself comfortable, sitting, lying, however you've decided that meditating is best for you, where you remain aware and alert. And take a couple breaths and just kind of settle in and just feel yourself rest. Feel yourself sit or lie. Feel the points of contact with the earth, with the ground, with the floor. Feel yourself settle onto those places where your body is resting. Now that you've become aware of that front attention where we were watching the breath, just kind of zoom in. I'm going to zoom in on that feeling of my feet on the floor. Zoom in on that feeling of my butt on the chair, on the throne. Zoom in on the feeling of my hands on my legs. Take a breath and just allow my shoulders to drop. Allow my breath to just run from top to bottom of my body. And as I breathe out, I just feel myself settle, feel myself relax. Yet another gift of the breath. It helps us to settle. Bringing our attention more narrow onto the breath. Begin to turn on that spotlight, turn on that front attention, that front focus. Just noticing that sensation of breath, noticing what's here. Noticing the mind active or not active, and allowing it to do what it's doing. And now with that front attention fully settled on that breath coming in and out of the nose, noticing the sensation of breath. Begin to become aware of that background of attention, that background awareness of the whole body, top to bottom. that wider awareness of the space in the body. Maybe for a moment just play with that front attention, the one that quiets the mind. The one where we keep pulling it back from distraction. Settling on that breath, settling it on the nose. And behind that is that other attention, that wide awareness of the whole body. That energy that's more still. That energy of just being. And into this energy, I'd like you to use that spotlight of attention to gently drift down from the top of the head all the way down until you come upon a sensation that feels very pleasant in the body. Where is the very pleasant sensation? And bring that attention, that spotlight of attention, right to that area. Notice the sensation of pleasant. Is it warm? Is it tingly? However you define it, doesn't matter. You don't need to define it. You can just be with it. Just experience it. And as you experience it, imagine yourself to be like a scientist. Here is pleasant. I'm going to put on my scientist coat and I'm going to examine this for a moment. How large of an area does this pleasant sensation take up? What is the overall sensation of pleasant? When I zoom in as if I'm looking under a microscope, does it change at all when I look at this sensation? Does it get more pleasant, less pleasant? Does it expand or widen? Does it dissipate? Does it become something else? As I observe these things, as I just am with this sensation, do I notice anything that's rising that wants this sensation to stay? Is there any part that's thinking of the way it used to be or wishing for it to be a certain way in the future? Am I comparing it to some other pleasant sensation? Notice what the mind does with pleasant. And as each of these things rise, can you allow them to just be? To rise just like one of those thoughts that passes through this awareness. It comes, it stays for some time, and then it passes through. As we observe, as we experience this pleasant sensation, just notice all of the things that rise and pass through as we observe, as we experience. And now taking a breath, let's just release that activity. Again, fall into this nice awareness. Again, fall into this awareness. If we feel agitated or distracted, you can bring your attention back to the breath, back to the nose. And then once again, falling into this wide awareness, the awareness of the whole body. And moving that spotlight through the body, let's see if we can find some sensation that feels unpleasant. Maybe it's a heaviness, maybe a tension, maybe a pain, but some part of the body that you call unpleasant. And let's bring our attention there. Again, putting on that lab coat, let's first notice how wide of an area does this take up, this unpleasant feeling, this unpleasant sensation. Is there a diameter? Is there a perimeter? And as you zoom in, what is the sensation of unpleasant? You can name it or you can just be with it. And as you observe this sensation, notice if something rises that doesn't want to be with the sensation, that's looking to avoid feeling the sensation. And allow that to rise. And see what happens to that feeling without reacting to it, without doing what it's telling you to do, without fighting with it, without judging it. What's it like to just be with what rises? No matter unpleasant, pleasant, judgmental, no matter what rises, can we just observe? Now looking at this unpleasant sensation, do we have some story about it that's coming up? Some reason for it? Some history of it? Some projection of what will happen in the future? Some comparison to some other unpleasant sensation? Notice these things rising. And as we notice without changing, without needing anything to be different, what's our experience of that? What happens to these things that rise? And without us paying attention, how long do they stay? My teacher said so often, what rises passes away. Without needing anything to leave, without needing anything to change. See if you can watch how things rise and pass away. Is that unpleasant sensation have the same qualities as when you first looked at it? Has it gotten more unpleasant or less unpleasant? Has the quality of it changed? Observe and notice. Allow. And now, taking a breath. Once again, letting that all go. Zooming in on the sensation of breath coming in and out of the nose for a couple of breaths. And then once again falling into that background awareness, that wider awareness of the whole body. And scanning through the body all the way from top to bottom, top of the head, all the way to the toes, the fingertips. Is there a part of the body that you haven't felt in a while, that you haven't paid attention to in a while? Is there some part of the body that feels maybe numb, maybe empty? Maybe completely neutral. Maybe hidden. Look around, see if you can find an area like that. First, notice the feeling of effort of trying to look for something like that. Allow that effort to be with us and then pass away. If it chooses to pass away. And finding that neutral place, that hidden place, that unseen place. What do you notice about it when you put on your science coat and you zoom in? What is there? And what rises as you observe? Is there a sense of loss or frustration or any million things that you can find? Whatever it is, just be with it for a moment. This is what you're experiencing. This place, this sensation. Whatever's rising. How does it change when observed? changes at every moment. The molecules in everything we see and everything we are move rapidly all the time. We have an illusion of solidity and nothing is solid. Everything changing every second, every nanosecond. What does it feel like to observe this changeable experience? And now taking a breath, let's just let go of all the effort, all the work, all the attention. Take some deep breaths into the lungs and begin to come back into the place where you're sitting or lying. And before you open your eyes, see if you can, one more time, just sink into that wide awareness of being, in which all things rise and fall, rise and pass away. Where is that stillness? Stillness of being. Moving fingers and toes gently whenever you're ready. Start to come back into the room. Thank you so much for watching. In the next video, we're going to start working with sound. Thank you so much. Lots of love.